Hello and welcome to episode 547 of Fergo and the Freak. I'm that bloke from Rugby League Project, Andrew Ferguson. You can follow me on Twitter at AndrewRLP. And join me as always is the glorious LeagueFreak. You can also find on Twitter at LeagueFreak. How you going there, mate?
I'm going pretty good. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. Can I just say congratulations?
What for?
You've been nominated for a podcasting award.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, I forgot about this. Tell everyone about it, and I'll put a link in the description of the podcast at the very top of the description so everyone can vote.
So we've been nominated for Best Rugby Podcast at the Sports Podcast Awards, which is a legit website. You can find them on Twitter at Sports Pod Group. There's basically we're up against a bunch of rugby union podcasts and one or two rugby league ones. Yep. I think there might only be one rugby league one.
Okay.
So you don't want a rugby union one to win the best rugby podcast?
No. If we win, do we get money?
I've got no idea what you get.
Be good if we won money.
Yeah. What would we buy with the money? A small Pacific Island, perhaps?
I was going to say a coffee machine. I told Andrew about how difficult it was for me to buy a coffee machine for about 3 fucking weeks, turned out. Yeah. But it turned out all right. I got a coffee machine in the end.
Yeah, and a small Pacific Island.
Yeah.
Because, that's part of the process.
Yeah. So we'll put, I guess there's a link people can follow. I think you've got to put your email in to vote.
Yeah. No, I'll ask you a few questions and stuff like that, but yeah.
Well, if everyone can go, if people can go to the description of this podcast right now and click on the link and then put your email in and then just vote for us, that'd be awesome. We'd love that. Because if we win it, we will fucking lord it over people. Like we'll become real pricks with the success.
We will have to change everything about the podcast, the intro and everything like that.
Yeah. I'll do a special voiceover that like says at the beginning, like the award-winning podcast, like Fergo and the Freak, and then I'll add like sound effects of people clapping and shit. It'd be good.
I think we should probably even just get other people to just do our job, but just have us in the background insulting them every time they say something that we wouldn't say.
What do you mean?
Because, you can just get 2 other random people doing our bit, and we just be in the back, just over the back of them, and they're going, hello, welcome to Fergo. The Freak goes, don't fucking say it like that.
It can't replace us. We're the talent.
Yeah, but we're too busy now. We're too important to be podcasting.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, like them radio hosts that are, they do their role and then they leave for like a month here and there because they're too busy, like, I don't know, going through another divorce or fighting a court case or something.
Yeah, starting some mad fucking right-wing flat earther bullshit conspiracy theory. Yeah. But pretending like it's comedy.
Right-wingers aren't flat earthers.
No. I'm not saying the right-wingers are flat earthers. So they go on some right-winger sort of thing and then they go and become flat earthers.
Okay.
You look at that clown I don't even know his name. He used to think he was a good comedian when he was like mid, and now he's worse.
Which one? They're all like...
He's a Victorian one with shit hair. Dave Hughes.
Oh, did he start talking about political stuff, did he?
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit.
He's a nutbag now.
Why would anybody want to hear anything he said, let alone about politics?
The only thing that was ever funny about him was the gap in his teeth.
Yeah.
Now he's on radio, so you can't laugh at it anymore because you can't see it.
Yeah. It's funny who they get on radio these days.
Yeah. They brought Kyle and Jackie O down to Melbourne.
Mm.
Yeah. All the prissy old people who still listen to the radio down here have all been whinging about him talking about dicks and stuff.
Yeah, I saw some of that. It was funny to see, like, just weird people in Melbourne, because you know what they're like. They're like, you can't just do that here. We're better than that. Like, fucking dumb people. People are dumb.
Yeah, we're better than that. Now let's all go down to the city and look at some graffiti on the wall and tell everyone it's art.
And drink our world famous coffee that we don't actually grow here or brew here or anything. We just pour it into a cup and think that we invented it.
Yes.
You dumb fucks.
Yep. Can't argue with any of that. Look, so if you go to sportspodcastgroup.com /podcast/Fergo and the Freak, but between Fergo and the Freak is just like dashes.
I'll put the link. Just go to the link in the description. That's the easy thing.
But it'll take you there. You just click on the vote button, and it'll ask you a bunch of stuff like, how much money you're willing to donate to this charity. And no, it doesn't ask you that shit. No,
what does it ask you to do? Instead of confusing people, what does it fucking ask you to do? Like you're making it sound like I don't want to do this process. What does it actually ask you to do?
Okay, no. It basically asks you about your podcast listening habits.
Okay.
And it doesn't ask that much. Like, how many podcasts do you listen to on average per week? That's probably the worst of it. I think there might only be 2 other questions after that. Okay. Yeah.
That's not bad.
No. How much would you pay for a coffee machine? Things like that.
So it's you're not fucking selling this to our listeners, okay? You are terrible at this.
Duh. I think I've said that plenty of times before.
Listen, just click on the link, okay? I think you got to put your email in, vote for us, and that's all you got to do.
Yeah.
That's it.
And tell everyone else to do it.
Yeah, tell other people to do it. And that's literally just so that we can throw it in everyone else's face.
Yeah. Remember, we're willing to do the same thing for Salford.
Yeah.
Just a smaller scale.
Yeah.
But, help us.
Yeah. Let's talk about some rugby league.
Oh, can we please?
Yeah. So today, good news for the West Tigers. They finally got rid of John Bateman off their books. I don't know if they've still got to pay a portion of his salary. I'm guessing they do. But yeah, even if they had to pay his whole salary for him to just go away, it would have been worth it. But he is apparently now a North Queensland Cowboy, which says to me that the North Queensland Cowboys really have some issues with recruitment because that's a dumb move by them.
And they've got a reliable enough forward pack already. What do they need him for?
I don't know.
When I heard there was a Queensland team in search for him, I thought, he's either going to the Titans or the Dolphins.
He'd be a good Titan. He has the absolute lack of commitment and the stupidity in his game to be a really good Gold Coast Titan.
Yeah, he just 100% a Titan all along. So I was surprised when I saw it was the Cowboys.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolute plotter. Very much his weaknesses are very heavily exposed when he's in a weak forward pack. So maybe he's thinking, if I go to a forward pack with Taumalolo in it, I'll probably get hidden and I won't be exposed as badly.
I think the good thing for the Cowboys is he won't see out his contract. The only weak part of his game is the rugby league part, I find. So
that's entirely it.
Outside of that, pretty well rounded.
I found he was playing pretty good football when he wasn't on the field.
Yeah.
Actually, some of his best performances for the West Tigers were actually when he wasn't even in the country. I love those games.
That's it where he found consistency when he wasn't in Australia. When completely
not in the same hemisphere.
Yeah, different.
So
hemisphere.
Good then.
It was good. It was really good.
Yeah, the defensive structure tightened up a little bit. Didn't turn the ball over so often. Didn't have a second rower putting in kicks to the sideline 40 metres out from the try line. That was always good.
Yeah, I really liked it when he decided to try and thunk. Because it wasn't thinking, it was thunking.
That's all. It had an element of the unk about it.
Yeah. So a great day for the West Tigers and continues their successful off-season. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they go next year, and I can't wait to see how Jarome Luai. He's been doing the media rounds for the Tigers. I guess he got back in the last week or so from his off-season break, and he's looking really happy, and he's been really positive, and it's been fantastic to see. And it's good to see like Tigers fans being able to be happy. It's been a while.
I felt like being a little bit flippant and saying Yeah, it's been good. He's been really passionate about his involvement with the club so far. It's almost like he stopped being arrogant.
I know. It's man.
Nah,
the way that
you can see the level of professionalism that he's bringing to the game that so many people within the club outside of Benji Marshall haven't really seen that much of.
Mm.
And he's bringing that along in spades. So
I can't wait until we see like the point of the season next year where you'll get these professional football commentators who are like kind of stunned that a 4-time premiership winner, a New South Wales player and a Samoan international is actually really, really good at playing footy. And they're like, wow, I didn't know he had this in his game. And it's like, oh, you should watch more football, man.
I'm wondering how they're going to spin it as an attack against Penrith, because that's now what the media likes to do.
Yeah.
Once there's a team that's, the top team in the comp, doesn't matter which team it is, but once you get to be the top team in the comp, the media just likes to absolutely shit can you whatsoever, for as long as they can, for as much as they can. You think the Broncos copped it a lot during the 90s, Storm in the, early to mid 2000s, and now Penrith are copping it.
It's been really weird as a Panthers fan to see it, because I like in the early 90s when we won the premiership in 91, it was different because it was a new team coming into the mix. So, and then we went away really quickly. And then 2003, it was like a bolt from the blue and we were an exciting team and stuff. And then we went away really quickly. This time around, we've stuck around and been good long enough to sort of experience it. And it's been very strange. And so, like, it's funny. I was watching some of the grand final highlights of the last few years that Penrith have been in and, seeing some of the things and remembering some of the silly things people would say. And it was like I was watching the end of the grand final highlights for this year's grand final. And I remember seeing people saying, oh, how arrogant is it that Penrith were celebrating before the full-time whistle? And it's like, they just won their 4th straight premiership, man.
Hang on, like every other team that's winning the game with 35 seconds left in a grand final has ever done. Literally. Yeah.
And just things like, oh, they're arrogant, and then there was the thing about, oh, they listen to rap music and just weird stuff that has been said about them, and just so much silliness and. Really every reason why you should just disconnect from corporate media, because it's only the corporate media that says it.
Yeah. And they're doing it just to drive content and shit like that.
Yeah. Normal people don't say this shit. It was, and I was thinking a little bit about that today. One of the things I was thinking about today is like, and I don't know if I said it on the podcast, but I know you and me talked about it in that, I didn't expect them to win 3 in a row, and the 4 in a row would be crazy. But I felt if they won 4 in a row, they were very, very likely to win 5 in a row, because to win 4 in a row, you got to be doing something so far outrageously good compared to everyone else that it's really likely you're just going to do it again the next year, right?
Yeah.
And I was looking at the players that they'd lost, and it's like, when they lost Kickout, it was like, okay, that's a pretty big wrinkle to their attacking structure that they lost. And then it was like they lost Crichton, basically was their next big loss. And this off-season, they'll have lost like Jarome Luai and obviously Taruva. And then you got Fisher Harris, who's a big loss. And I'm thinking, like, when you look at their additions and you look at how they get on when they do lose a really important player in their team, I'm kind of super confident they're going to win again next year.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that's wrong?
No. I don't think it's right that anyone would be able to sit there and say that Penrith are not the benchmark for 2025. I will say that losing Luai is the first genuine big loss that they've had, because that does change everything about their attacking structure. Everybody else, it's it's a part of the attacking structure that's gone missing, but it can be replaced. But when you lose one of your halves, that changes a lot of the structure. And so I think 2025 is going to see them with the biggest impact on their roster that they've had, and the biggest impact on their structure and the way they play the game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Panthers play a very, very different style in 2025. Still be focusing heavily on their defense because that is still the focal point of what they do. But I wouldn't be surprised if Cleary takes a lot more control, and you see him playing a lot more like Daly Cherry Evans, like completely commanding every play. He's capable of doing it. But I wouldn't be surprised if that starts to happen a little bit more. Which should also mean that things like your middle forwards start defending a bit tighter into the middle of the field to protect him a little bit more, so he doesn't have to do as much defense to keep him healthy, for as long as possible.
Yeah.
And little things like that also, it just leads into another thing, but they all start adding up, and it just changes the way everything functions. But if any team has to do a major change to their style and still be successful, it's going to be the Panthers.
And I think that, like, if Cole comes in, Jack Cole, who he really was groomed to look like he would be the dude that would step into that role, and I think he'll step into it really comfortably. But then there's been a lot of talk that Blaise Talungi will be the guy that they kind of groomed to take that role as well. And then you've got Papali, who's coming in, who I really do think that when he gets there, he gets a good off-season under his belt. I feel like he's going to be one of those guys that a lot of people are like, this is unfair that Penrith got this guy. I think he's going to have a huge year next year.
He will. Look, he hasn't been horrible at the Tigers either. It's just more the fact that the Tigers were trying to play structured footy for the first time in a while, which meant that his entire repertoire in attack was not always on show. That won't be the case when he goes to Penrith. So you start to see him being a lot more damaging on the edge of the ruck.
So I think he's going to be playing prop. I feel like they're going to bring him into the middle of the field.
He'll be a wide prop if he is.
But I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I wouldn't be surprised if they put him in the second row and they put Yo at prop. It's basically the same as being locked these days.
Yeah, I guess. But we'll see what happens. But, like, I mean, the fact that they got two quality dudes like that, and, they when it comes to outside backs, they just keep producing the goods with outside backs. It's kind of crazy. And, I'm maybe more confident about them next year than I have been at any time in this run. And I've always voiced my questions over the Panthers on this podcast. Like, when they made that first grand final, it was a little bit of them being ahead of schedule. We always thought that they'd develop into a good side, but it was so far ahead of schedule, it was kind of a shock. And then it was like, how will they bounce back? And then it was like, okay, they've won a premiership. Will they have lost the desire and stuff? And then it's like, eventually last year I was like, is it too much of a grind to win 4 in a row? And so I've always had these question marks. I'm kind of looking at next year of like, good luck stopping them at this point.
That's not a bit of arrogance coming through, is it? The media's going to be on your ass now. Good.
Give them something different to do outside of just drinking themselves to death, hey?
No, they love that too much.
Yeah.
So we go into what I did today.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, as Freaky would know, God, was it 2 years ago, I think, I decided to try and figure out if there's a way we could have a mathematical format and structure to properly adjudicate the International Rugby League rankings, because it's always a bit of a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And today I thought, bugger it, I'm just going to punch this out. I'm going to try and figure it out and come up with something that makes sense, which is the first part, and works. And the problem we've got is because of the way the International Rugby League calendars in the last, because I was only looking at the last 10 years, but even in that period, which has been the most structured period they've had, there's still been so many games that have been played without any genuine purpose. And then it just means that there are a lot of teams out there, if they've got the capabilities and the finances and the wherewithal and motivation, they'll play just an absolute ton of games against other similarly ranked sides. And no mathematical structure can account for that. So with that being said, I went through, it's a very exhaustive process. I wrote an article about it, and I went through all of the metrics I've used. Very briefly, I started with looking at teams that have played in every World Cup since 2000. So there was 10 teams there that did that. So they became teams in Group A. All the remaining teams that have played in World Cup since 2008, they made up Group B. And I think that was 7 teams. There was 3 other teams. So I just used the teams that were in the top 20 in the last International Rugby League rankings that hadn't been named in the top 2 groups yet, and they made up the rest of that, which I think was Netherlands, Serbia, and Malta. And then I put every other team outside of those 20 teams all in Group C, and Estonia was in Group D because they've still got a ranking for some reason, but they haven't played any footy since 2009.
Well, that makes sense.
So I went with that.
Yep.
But basically what happens is teams get points for beating Group A is the most, for beating Group B is the second most, beating Group C is the least. Teams that lose to Group A, depending on where you're ranked, you kind of get the drift. If you're Group C and you lose to Group A, then you don't lose that many points. But if you're Group A and you lose to Group A, you lose more points. If you're Group A and you lose to Group C, you lose a ton of points. So, it's ranked in that order, but without it being too complicated, too spaced out, too complicated, so to speak. I just wanted to keep it as simple as possible.
You try to simplify it,
You got a point for every game you played over the 10 years. So using that structure, you then had a multiplier for every year. So that adds the recency bias. So whatever your score was in 2015, that's just multiplied by 1. 2016 is multiplied by 2. And up to 2024, whatever your score is there, multiplied by 10. So you get the recency bias in there, so you're getting your current form as well. If you're in Group A, you got 200 points. Group B, you got 125. Group C, you got 50. Group D got 0. There's other little points along the way for playing games against Group A teams, Group B, Group C, and performances in the World Cup, reaching the finals. So after all of that, it spat out some rankings. We'll go through the list here because there's a few shocks.
Yeah.
So the first one's not a shock. Team number 1 is Australia. Number 2 is England. And they are comfortably clear of number 3, which is New Zealand. And then number 4 is Papua New Guinea. 5 is Fiji. 6 is the Netherlands. 7 is Ireland. I'll get through the 10. 7 is Ireland. 8 is Lebanon. 9 is Tonga. And 10 is France.
Okay.
Thoughts?
And so some of the, as well, the one there's 2 that stands out there. Right. Obviously the Netherlands, but they're very active. And then Ireland, who I reckon I could get a run with them. And so they're the 2 that stand out in the top 10 of what are they doing there?
Yes. So the Netherlands have had a lot of wins just in the last 2 years, which has given them a pretty big score there because the recency bias just throws them up a lot. Ireland also, they've been pretty good in the last few years. I think their best year was probably 2024. So that's helped push them up a bit. Having played in all 5 World Cups has given them a fair bit of points as well.
But this is the thing that I tweeted you about very angrily during the day.
Oh, like I was actually very concerned. I lost the windows.
Yeah, it wasn't anger at you. It was anger at the International Rugby League, where it's like because for whatever reason they keep on insisting that Ireland and Scotland and Wales are at World Cups and involved in big competitions when they don't warrant being there. They obviously accrue points that they normally wouldn't have got if it wasn't for the people at the International Rugby League who are, for the most part based in Great Britain, making sure these British teams are there.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. So England's got a very high score because they've played more international football than anybody else. They've got 37 matches in the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
New Zealand is second best on that list with 36 games.
Mm-hmm.
And then third on that list is, I think it's Malta.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. Malta's got 34.
And Malta's at 18.
Yeah, they're at 18. Australia's got 30.
Mm-hmm.
So they're your top 4 teams, top 5 teams. Oh, Serbia's also had 30 games as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they're your top 5 teams for most games played in the last.
And Serbia is ranked 16.
Mm.
It's not far off, I reckon. It's pretty good. I think that, obviously Samoa's a little low. If you lined it up in terms of who would normally beat who, there's only France would be obviously below Samoa, but that's only one step down. The Cook Islands would be higher because the Cook Islands would tear through some of the teams that are above them, such as the Philippines, for instance, Malta. It's hard to line them up against Ukraine because in terms of, having similar opponents, there aren't really any there, but you would think they'd go through Ukraine, Italy, a real Italy team, by the way, Canada and the likes. So it's pretty close, I think. It's just the anomalies of the Netherlands and Ireland that really. But then again, I think that when you give points for being more active than anyone else, it's a good thing.
Yeah, and that's what I think too. Is that especially for these emerging nations, it's not easy to play a lot of football because every game costs money.
Yeah, and
money is something they don't have a lot of. So for a team like Netherlands to have played 23 games, and a lot of those have been in the last 3 years, it seems wrong to not say you deserve to get something for that.
And the problem I have with the International Rugby League is you get a team like that is playing so many games, and they're no chance of being anywhere close to the World Cup, getting a look in for the World Cup. But then all of a sudden, Ireland turns up and Scotland turns up. And, now they're trying to get South Africa to turn up again. And meanwhile, the Netherlands have been playing their asses off and there's just no path for them.
They're overlooked.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, we had the same issue with Serbia and Canada. Mm-hmm. They've been 2 of the more active teams yet to have played in a World Cup. And yet we're seeing other teams just, find ways to get rocketed in there. The Scotland one is the worst one, to be honest.
Yeah. They don't play rugby league in Scotland.
Well, just to point out how much of a problem it was using this system. If we go through the next 10, okay. From 11 down to 20, Samoa, Wales, Canada, Italy, USA, Serbia, Ukraine, Malta, Philippines, and the Cook Islands.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go to 30 next. So 21 is Germany, then Greece, Czech Republic, South Africa, Niue, Chile, Turkey, Nigeria. Scotland's at 29, equal with Brazil.
Yeah. But like Brazil is actually, they're starting to play a lot more games. So I wouldn't be shocked if Brazil passes them really soon. But yeah, and then like you're starting to now get towards some teams that it's questionable if rugby league is still played there anymore.
Yeah, and there's very little gap in points between the rest of these teams from here.
Yeah, because of that, I'm guessing.
Yes. So after Scotland and Brazil is Hungary, Japan, Belgium, Poland, Norway, Spain, Sweden, Russia, Thailand, Solomon Islands. Excuse me. All of these teams have not been playing the whole time for the last 10 years. They've either started later or they've missed a few years in a row. Not just because of COVID, but we're just inactive for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Jamaica is at 41, yet they played in a World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Then after Jamaica is Argentina, Denmark, India, Ghana, Burundi, Congo, Morocco, Peru, El Salvador, Latvia, Vanuatu, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Uruguay, Albania, Kenya, Montenegro, Hong Kong, Bulgaria, Cameroon, North Macedonia, Colombia, and Estonia, who haven't played a game.
Mm.
So that's 63 nations.
Yeah.
From 28 down to 63, those teams are scored between 97 and 0.
Yeah.
So they are all very, very close. From 13 to 27, they've scored between 200 and 100.
Mm. It's I like it for the most part. And yeah, it's pretty close. It's pretty close. I think the thing that gets me about the Rugby League World Cup is, and we talked about they needed to make it a smaller competition. They needed to make it that it was a small tournament that had just the best teams there, and it was over pretty quickly. It didn't have to be drawn out or anything like that. And so it's good to see they've done that. But the problem that they now have, because the International Rugby League is a bloated, convoluted organisation for God knows what reason, because they don't do much of anything, they can't even get out of their own way in terms of like who automatically qualifies. So they cut down the tournament to like 10 teams. But then it was like, and 8 teams automatically qualify. It's like, you dumb idiots. Yeah. And why did they qualify? Well, they all made the quarterfinals or whatever it was. And it's like, okay, you just change that. That's really simple. Because the only team that should qualify automatically, in my opinion, is the host nation. And that's it. Like, even Australia should have to qualify for the next Rugby League World Cup. As an Australian, I've got no problems with that.
Yeah, look, I'd be fine with that. I'm happy with anything that stops this whole massive number of teams automatically just being put in there without even trying.
Yeah, and I
don't even mind if you had 2 or 3 all up that got automatically put in there out of 12. But to have more than 3 is, you're just killing the motivation for every other nation to try and get there.
Look, I would. Here's the thing, Andrew. Right? I bet I can pick your 3. Because you've said 3, that's a real random number. I bet I'm going to pick your 3 right now. The host nation.
Yep.
France. And Papua New Guinea, because it's their national sport.
I'm not opposed to any of that.
And France is because they
started it.
They started it. They pushed it when everyone else was like, I don't know about this. They said, look, we'll fucking do the entire thing. You guys have just got to turn up. And then when people just turned up and it was a huge, massive, gigantic success, and then all of the usual suspects said, well, we'll take over now.
Yeah.
And just continued to fuck it up over decades.
Yeah. I'd be 100% fine with that.
Yeah. Look, if you've got a nation where rugby league, you make it your national sport and it is legitimately your national sport, boom, instant entry, done. If fucking the rugby league was the national sport of, say, the Cook Islands, put them in there straight away.
I'm 100% behind that.
Yep.
Promote good deeds.
Yes.
That's what I'm all for.
Yeah, don't just continue a momentum that's based on incompetence.
Exactly.
Which is what we've seen before. Congratulations, Scotland.
So my idea here is you have your World Cup every 4 years.
Yep.
And 2 years after every World Cup, we have the Emerging Nations World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is a great thing that they had, but they've only done it twice, in 2000 and in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
In 2000, it was only 4 teams. In 2018, they had a lot more teams in there. I think it might have been 8. The Emerging Nations World Cup should be for the teams that are ranked from 21 to 40.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so the way I look at it is those teams, 21 to 40, they've got the period from the Emerging Nations World Cup previous and the World Cup that's just been played. All the teams from rank 21 down are all vying for 12 places in that Emerging Nations World Cup. So all the games they play in that time, and they need to be part of structured tournaments, but all the games they play in that time determines their ranking in that period. And if they rank between, 21 and 33, whatever it is, they're in the Emerging Nations World Cup. And if you win that World Cup, or if you get a good score out of that, you're then qualifying to be into the top 20. And the top 20 teams are the ones who are vying for the top 12 places to go into the World Cup. So
see, I would have it a little different. I would have it as a 10-team World Cup is the main tournament. And it's short, sharp. We get a winner. They're the champion. And I would have it every 3 years because it's only a quick tournament, And then my Emerging Nation World Cup would be like probably teams from, say, 11 to, I don't know, and maybe only, 18. And it would just be a flat knockout competition.
Fair enough. What are you going to do for the 40-odd teams outside of the top 18? What are they going to do to try and qualify? How are they going to get motivation to try and get better?
Play games, get into that top echelon.
Yes.
That's what I would do. That would be their motivation. But, if say you are Belgium, and I'm just picking a country out, but just say you're Belgium. If you go on a program where you're playing 50 games a year and you game the system and you push yourself up into, say, 14th place because of it, congratulations, you're in the Emerging Nations World Cup.
Would there be then stricter systems in place to make sure that you can't game the system like that to get into the World Cup?
No, you play that many internationals, good luck. You're in the World Cup.
That's fine.
I'm not going to begrudge a nation that plays international rugby league. That's the thing.
That's fine.
Yeah. I want to get rid of the ones that are fake. They don't play, or because we've seen it too many times, and you've just got to have been alive long enough to have seen these teams that don't exist, and then all of a sudden they turn up, and it's like, where the fuck did these guys come from? And it's like, oh, don't worry, Sean Rutgerson was born there. Like, where the fuck did Jamaica come from?
This is right. And see, this is the problem I have with when I went through this, what became abundantly clear is that from, say, Team 19, which is the Philippines on 119 points, all the way down to Team 63 on 0. Mm-hmm. That's a fuckload of teams that are all fairly similarly ranked.
Yeah.
And I thought those teams need to be competing against each other more frequently, not just the same few teams all the time, but against lots of different combinations of all of those teams in a World Cup format, and try and break up that big block of scores there and try and get them somewhat moving up closer to the next lot. Because that's the other thing, is that it's not just two big gaps. Australia and England on this system are the only two teams with a score over 700. New Zealand's the only team with a score over 400. Papua New Guinea and Fiji, the only two teams over 300. Then you got Netherlands at 6 down to Wales at 12 that are in the 200s. And that just starts to get bunched up after that.
Yeah, and look, you can see why it is. New Zealand has not done anything for itself in rugby league ever. I think the last time they did something for themselves in rugby league, it was the All Golds tour. So basically, New Zealand sits back in a chair and they wait to be called upon by Australia or England, right? And then PNG, they've got to pick up the scraps when they can. And the same kind of goes for Fiji, Tonga and Samoa, although it is getting better for them. Lebanon really is just a World Cup team at this point. Like, they need to be playing more games. And then you've got Ireland and Scotland and Wales, which is just like they're another just World Cup teams, which is ridiculous. Somehow the Netherlands is playing a bunch of games, and yet they can't get a game against anybody that has, a team of professional players in their side, as much as they would probably love to see where they really stand. And so you've got these tiers, and it's based on all sorts of things, and it's like it's based upon money, and it's based upon incompetence. It's based upon a lack of interest in doing anything. And it's really weird. And so you get a team like the Netherlands, they're really stuck because of it.
Yeah, and look, this is the thing is that, for me anyway, doing it this way has highlighted one thing, and that is the current system has some biases within the calculations that go on to justify some teams having higher rankings than they otherwise should have.
Yeah.
And why teams like Canada, who have always been playing a lot of footy and playing, a competitive level and against pretty decent opposition. They play a lot of games against America, who've been to 2 World Cups. And they've given Canada a ranking of 41 in their last World Cup rankings.
Yeah, and like the International Rugby League, their job shouldn't be about waiting every 6 months and then preening in front of the media like they did something. Their job should be to look at a team like the Netherlands or look at a team like Canada and say, look, these guys are doing their best at the levels they're at. Let's do something to help them get some games against better opposition, give them a chance to get that exposure and see how they go. But that's not what the International Rugby League does. They go and have meetings in Singapore, try not to get anybody arrested during those meetings, and then they go back home and they say, oh, yeah, we're going to come up with a calendar. It's like that seems like the same thing you've said over the last 20 years.
Yeah. What could go wrong?
Yeah.
But no, I'd like to see if you've played over a certain threshold of games, say it's 25 games in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Because not a huge amount of teams have done that. They should be going, right, these teams are going to go into a group to determine, which ones are going to advance to the World Cup. If that's what's got to be. But something needs to be done. And I would say we use what's here as a starting point. And what you do every year is, right, we've done all of these calculations, and every year the top 10 teams, they become Group A for the next year. The next 10 teams, they're Group B for the next year, and everyone else is Group C after that. And then you calculate the next year, 2025, using those rankings and stuff like that. Yeah. And we keep going on forwards from there. Eventually, that will even out all of this and get it working properly. And it won't take 10 years because we've only got to wipe out basically the 4 years before COVID, because it's 2 years in a row where basically no one played any footy. And we're back to being kind of where we are now, where it's probably the best organised it's ever been. Not that it's great, but it's the best organised it's ever been. at the international level, we can start making some headway there, which means you're going to get through all the way to the next World Cup. You can get an Emerging Nations World Cup in there. And then you can start going, right, now that we've got this thing set, we've got good ranking system, it's figured out, it's all working properly, let's get some shit nailed down and get a set structure in place for eternity and work from that.
Now, the problem with that is, in terms of how it actually works, is that, when they do decide to come up with a plan, it's terrible plans that they come up with. And so they have to be scrapped. And we've had so many resets of International Rugby League, it is fucking ridiculous. Because the International Rugby League itself is abysmal at their job. And there's basically nothing that they do that's any good.
Well, that's why I'm doing this, though.
Yeah, I know.
I'll just take over.
If you took over, first of all, you should be the official statistician for the International Rugby League. That's coming from LeagueFreak. And everybody knows that. And if you were running International Rugby League, it would be in a much better place.
I would take this list right here.
Mm-hmm.
I go, right, Estonia, you're at the start.
Mm-hmm.
Right, your next game is against Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to start the Mortal Kombat Tower from there.
I'm up for it.
Work your way up. If you lose to Colombia, it's your turn. You work up from there. And you keep going until you lose. And the team you lose to, they then take over from that point and they keep working up.
Look, the thing I like about the Pacific Championship is that every single year we're going to get a bunch of different teams playing one another. So we're going to get Australia playing Tonga, playing New Zealand.
The structure is so fucked.
That's the problem with it, is the structure is dumb. It's really dumb.
And why do we have a bloody bowl? Why can't we put all the teams together? You can't tell me that there's 3 or 4 Pacific Island teams that are that far away from matching it up with the other 4. The gap's not that huge anymore.
Who has ever liked a competition where there's one trophy but then there's another trophy for the shit teams?
Exactly.
That is such...
Right,
you know what?
right, boys, huddle around. This time, we're going to go all the way. We're going to win the bowl.
Yeah. I remember the highlight of my career. We were fucking garbage, but we beat another fucking garbage team in that competition we were no good in, and that was just amazing because we won a bowl.
Do you remember that team that won the repechage round?
This is the thing. The International Rugby League and the people that run it are terrible at what they do. So they come up with these terrible ideas. And in their dumb heads, they think these things are a good idea. And they're not.
It's not, because all it does, it keeps the teams that are the next tier down, it keeps them there. It doesn't allow them to have competition against elite teams. Because one of the great things that has been fantastic in the International Rugby League, and we saw it in 2019, is when Great Britain came around here and they lost to Tonga and they lost to Papua New Guinea. Because people were going, wow, who thought we'd ever get to see all of that happen again?
They lost every single game on that tour, all 4 games.
Yep.
It was Wayne Bennett's fault, to be fair.
Yeah, what would he know?
He's not very good at rugby league coaching. I think that's been established over his
I don't think it's
50-year coaching career at the highest level.
I don't think it's his coaching that was the problem. I think it's the fact that he wasn't British.
Well, he didn't do it the British way, and we know how good the British way is because they haven't won anything worthwhile for 50 years.
Yeah, you got to look at it from a different perspective. Perhaps Wayne Bennett went in there with the intention of making Great Britain look bad because he's Australian and he wants to see Australians look good and look better than the British. So he had a motivation for failure.
Definitely. Look, the dirty secret of International Rugby League is that the only reason Australia is so dominant is because of the referees and how high the grass is cut and where the games are played and when and how and the ball that's used and all those different things.
Remember those games in Burleigh?
Yeah.
Good
times.
The other thing that was better than that was that was that one moment where we used a little bit of journalism.
My favorite thing was when Englishman Russell Smith was the referee in the Ashes, and he was so unbiased towards England in his refereeing that he was biased towards Australia, and that's the only reason Australia won. I think we won 3-0 too.
Yeah, I mean that shows the referee's integrity, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. It really does. And then when they announced that we were going to use a soccer ball for the 2000 World Cup, and Australia insisted they use a rugby league ball, and that was another Australian tactic that they wanted to use a rugby league ball to play rugby league with.
How dare they?
Yeah, well, you got to watch
the
us,
fucking
Andrew.
Nerve.
We always find a way to make it about us.
Good times.
Mm.
But there we go. So if you want to go and check out how I figured all of that out and look at it all, and you can go over to my blog. I actually have one. People don't realise this because I've not posted anything on there for 5 years.
You write more for my website than you do.
I have. That is no word of a lie.
I will put a link to Andrew's article. It will also be within the episode description. So after you've voted for us for the podcast awards, go and read Andrew's article because it's very in depth.
Yeah, and I'd be happy if you were to contact the Fergo and the Freak podcast Twitter account, or you can email us, and give me your ideas of what you would do to tweak what I've done, add to it, take stuff away, anything like that. Let's have a proper debate, because I reckon we might be onto something here, and I would not mind at all continuing this and going through with this next year and seeing how it keeps playing out.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see what changes end up happening.
Yeah.
Because we need something in International Rugby League where there's an overall grander structure to where everyone can aim for and where everyone can go to. And unfortunately, with the International Rugby League, they're like a goldfish. They've got the brain of an Etch-a-Sketch, and it just changes every 5 minutes, and then they wonder why no one takes any of it seriously.
There we go. So there you go, a little bit of homework for everybody.
I'm just looking at the blogs that you've done on your website. So you've done this one for 2024. The last one you did before that was in 2020. You did one.
Yeah, well, I think I listed all of the podcasts at the time.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
And then you did 5 in 2019. That was COVID, so you were very active then.
Yeah.
2018 though, you did 31.
2018. I wonder what that was.
You were right a lot.
I put a bunch in January. Oh, that was some articles I used to write for another website.
Oh, okay.
And then after that, I was basically putting in the articles I was writing for a website that doesn't exist anymore. I think it was called Commentary Box Sports.
I think I remember that.
Yeah. And so I was putting on a few of the opinion pieces I wrote for that website went on there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a few there. 2017, not much happened there. 2016, I think this is around the time I was dumping in just a bunch of articles I'd found.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I remember there was a point where, and it might have been when we were doing the podcast. I think we were doing the podcast by then, but you had a bunch of history articles that you were like, do you want to put these on your website? And I was like, are you serious? Yes. And I put a bunch on there. I think that was about 3 or 4 years ago now. And that was, there was a lot of profiles that you've done of historic people in rugby league, which was really cool.
I remember saying to you, actually, it was along the lines of, if you ever want content for your website, just go and copy and paste it from my blog.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be fine with it.
Yeah.
And I think you just went, That's work for me, though. Can't be fucked.
Copy and paste? What, you make me do all the work here?
The last article I wrote in 2019 was LeagueFreak backs calls for Cowboys and Paul Green to go their separate ways.
Oh, that was when we were writing articles about each other saying stuff. We were doing the Fox Sports thing where they say, one of their journalists said something, and then they write about that, and then the journalist replies to that, and so we started doing that to each other.
I'll read the first paragraph because it summed it up pretty well.
Yeah.
Rugby league expert and podcaster LeagueFreak has backed Andrew Ferguson's agreement with Laurie Daly regarding North Queensland coach Paul Green that suggests that he should leave the club that he won a premiership with back in 2015. Andrew Webster suggested recently that Green needs a new challenge and a change would benefit both parties.
Yeah. That's it. Then you've got all your tweets. I just scrolled down. You screenshot 20 tweets. And, this is the book. This is the fucking what every single piece of rugby league journalism is these days. We're ahead of the curve on this shit.
Oh, we're all over it.
We nailed it. Further down, it's like, have you quoted yourself?
Yep.
Right? And then I think you quoted me at the end. Yeah, you did.
The quote that you made was star of the podcast, Fergo and the Freak. LeagueFreak joined in the discussion to say, I agree with everything you have to say this issue, Andrew. I think his time is just about done.
It's funny because that's what they do.
Yes.
Oh, shit. That's so funny.
Yeah, there was... You will find there's some satire I've got in there, especially in the first, the 2011 and 2012 ones there. Mm-hmm. There's a bunch of articles I was writing for another website, and some of it was just creative stuff, and I was just doing very, very aggressive satire a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
hey, somebody just tweeted about the article that you just we were just talking about.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I did. It was actually a reply to what I'd said. So, oh no, it wasn't. So I retweeted your article and said this guy can write.
Yep.
And Neil Morrow has replied, interesting idea. And like Andrew admits, in its current state, it doesn't work. He's talking about the way that the ratings go.
Yeah.
Netherlands is 6th above Samoa, and Tonga is a glaring issue, which we talked about. Even England above New Zealand is highly debatable. However, with the proper international fixture calendar, this could be tweaked. Work in progress. This is everything we've been talking about. So, yeah.
Well said, Neil Morrow.
Yeah. It's I'm gonna tweet him right now. We are currently recording the podcast and just read your tweet in real time. Fucking interactive, man.
That is insane.
Yeah.
Now we can just sit here and gibber on until he replies to that.
Yeah. Oh, God, I need him to reply. We've got nothing else to talk about.
We've got an hour to fill here. I could reply already.
Jeez, what's taking him so long? So I had this idea, and it was to have an episode we did that was about what AI thinks about rugby league.
Yes.
Okay. So I put a couple of questions to Grok, which is the Twitter-based AI that they've got set up. And it was interesting to see what it spits out, because I look at AI as like a magic 8 ball in terms of I find it interesting what it spits back out, but you know how much weight you give to it. I don't really give too much weight to it, because at the end of the day, it's just aggregating what it finds online, basically.
Yes.
So let's ask it some rugby league questions.
All right. I just asked it because, see, the thing I found with I've been mucking around with AI myself a little bit of late, and I found that the way you phrase the question can determine the way it tries to answer it.
Okay.
So, for an example here, the one I just typed in was, Why is John Bateman so poor at playing rugby league?
And what does it say?
So I'm trying to make it prove me right that he is poor at playing rugby league.
But what does it say when it says that?
So it says, because it doesn't always work, and it hasn't on this one. It says, John Bateman is not considered poor at playing rugby league by most standards, given his successful career and achievements in the sport. However, there have been discussions about his performance, particularly in recent times with the West Tigers and NRL. It's got here adaptation challenges. It says Bateman's move to West Tigers has been marked by challenges. Some reports suggest that his form hasn't matched his previous highs, which could be attributed to adapting to a new team environment, different strategies, even personal adjustments to life in Australia. Because he didn't have to deal with that in Canberra.
Yeah. Well, Canberra's not Australia. You just need to watch Parliament to see that.
That's true. Injury and fitness issues, team dynamics, public perception and criticism, off-field issues. So it gives a very lengthy answer there. It's tried. It's tried to prove me right.
We'll basically paraphrase what it's saying for the most part after you get, because I find that once you get about a paragraph into it, it just starts filling it out for you. You know, it gives you. So what's another question we could ask it? What about let's ask it. Will Penrith win a 5th straight premiership? Let's see if it even knows who Penrith are or is. Okay, it's looking as predicting whether the Penrith Panthers will win a 5th straight premiership involves looking at their recent performance, team changes, and the competitive landscape in the NRL. Here is an analysis based on available information. So it gives some point recent performance and dynasty. That's always good to know. Team changes, competition challenges, public sentiment and betting odds, and then conclusion. Let's read the conclusion, eh? While Penrith has shown the capability and potential to win a 5th straight premiership due to their established system and coaching, the loss of key players and the competitive nature of the NRL makes this no sure thing. The team's ability to integrate new talent, maintain their high standards, and adapt to the evolving strategies of their competitors will be crucial. Therefore, while they are certainly in the conversation for another title, it's not a given, and they will face stiff competition from a league that's eager to see a new champion. To be fair, I think that's a pretty fair answer to the question.
It's not bad.
Yeah, if a person said that to me, I'd be like, you know what? I can't argue with you. I think that's fair.
I've asked it a different one, probably a bit trickier this one.
Okay.
It's a bit wordy too.
Okay.
Is it sick that the Parramatta Eels fans have to cross the Bernie Banton Bridge to attend games played by the Parramatta Eels, who are now sponsored by James Hardy?
What? What?
Bernie Banton. Do you know of Bernie Banton?
No.
Bernie Banton sued James Hardy for illnesses he got from working at James Hardy, who had asbestos.
Yeah.
And after he passed away, a bridge in Parramatta was named the Bernie Banton Bridge.
Okay.
Next year, Parramatta are going to be sponsored by James Hardy.
That is weird, isn't it? That's real weird. Where's the bridge? I'm trying to think of where the bridge is.
Let me find out. I know it's in Parramatta.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of weird.
If you lived in Sydney like I do, you'd know this. The Bernie Banton Bridge is a multi-span concrete girder bridge located in Parramatta, which carries Marsden Street. There you go. It goes over the Parramatta River.
Okay.
See, now you know.
I normally like the most on, because Parramatta is not my haunt. So my knowledge of Parramatta is basically the knowledge that I got walking when I was a teenager, walking from the station to the stadium.
Okay, it's actually ridiculously close to CommBank Stadium.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I shall send you a picture.
I'm guessing it's like it's further up the road where I don't venture.
The little blue pin drop thing that's on there is the bridge.
Okay, let me find this.
It's a fucking block away.
Ah, it's only a block away. Yeah, that is weird. Yeah, see, I normally don't go that way. So, yeah.
But there you go.
How about that? Yeah, that's strange. What did are you using Grok or are you using?
Yeah, using Grok. It says here, it's highly ironic that fans must cross a bridge named after a man who fought against the company that now sponsors their team.
Ooh.
Ethical and moral considerations. Some may find it distasteful or even morally questionable. Public reaction. The public's response has been varied. Some fans and community members might feel uncomfortable with this sponsorship, seeing as a contradiction to the values or the memory they associate with Bernie Banton. Others might view it as a step towards redemption for James Hardy.
Ugh.
Yeah. I did see one person saying that, James Hardy has spent billions on compensation and education and all sort of stuff. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Still not good. Like, you just leave that alone. Don't go back to that well. That's not worth it.
That's not one you put in the plus column.
No, you just...
The court-ordered compensation, yeah.
You just walk away from that one.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jim, but no.
Yeah. Let's ask it another question. Let's ask, what has Clint Gutherson actually won during his rugby league career? Okay, so it's thinking. Okay. Okay. Okay, it's given. All right.
Yep,
okay,
yep.
I think it's finished. Yeah, it's finished.
Oh,
Clint Gutherson has achieved several accolades and recognitions throughout his rugby league career. He won the Ken Thornett Medal. He won the Italian Fullback of the Year. In terms of team achievements...
Hang on, is that it?
No, let me get there. In terms of team achievements...
Feels like a reach.
Grand final appearance? Although he didn't... It says, Clint Gutherson captained the Parramatta Eels to the 2020 NRL Grand Final, although they did not win the championship. NRL Finals, he has led the Parramatta Eels to the finals multiple times, particularly noteworthy in seasons where they secured high ladder positions, like third place.
Wow.
2020. On the international and representative level, the Rugby League World Nines, Gutherson was part of Australia's team that won the Rugby League World Nines in 2019. Well done. State of Origin. He has represented New South Wales in the State of Origin series, making his debut in 2020 and playing in the subsequent series, notably in 2023. Didn't he only play 4 minutes?
I think so, yes.
He was Prime Minister's 13. Gutherson has been selected for the Australian Prime Minister's 13 team. So he would have won that. Would have won that game. New South Wales City Origin. He played for the New South Wales City Origin team in 2016 and 17. I can't remember if they won or not. They probably did. Hey, Andrew. They probably did. Because he was only playing people from the country.
I mean, they can't be much chop, can they? Yeah. Who remembers that absolute flop, Clive Churchill?
Oh, man. These accolades, don't bring fucking historical accuracies into what we're talking about. He was from Newcastle. He wasn't from the country. These accolades and team achievements reflect a career marked by individual excellence and the significant contributions to his team performances. I'm giving that the thumbs down.
I asked, should Clint Gutherson be named an NRL Immortal?
What did it say?
It gives you arguments for and against.
Yeah.
So for, it says consistency in leadership, Been a consistent performer for the Eels, often leading by example and earning multiple accolades, including the Eels Ken Thornett Medal, Players Player, and Members Player of the Year awards. Known for his ability to play multiple positions effectively, including fullback, centre, and even in the halves or at hooker.
Oh, that's generous.
His versatility is rare and valuable.
It is. You know what? To be fair, his versatility is very rare because I've never seen it.
No. Arguments against. Despite what you just said, lack of major accolades. The Immortals are
Rugby
traditionally
League Lions World Cup.
The Immortals are traditionally players with an extensive list of accolades, including multiple premiership series wins like State of Origin or international tournaments, and individual awards across a broad spectrum of the game. Gutherson, while exceptional, hasn't yet won a premiership or been a central figure in a dominant team or era. So that's the biggest backhand you'd ever get right there.
To be fair,
you're exceptional, but a loser. Slap.
To be fair, he has the Dragons era of his career
to come.
So he could turn it all around. But he won't.
Conclusion. In summary, while Clint Gutherson is an exceptional player and leader, the title of Immortal typically requires a career that has left an indelible mark of the sport's history, which might be more of a future conversation than an immediate one. It's not ruling it out.
Yeah, look, I'm fine with that. The door is still open. Let's ask it. Okay. Did the Sydney Roosters steal their logo from the French Rugby League team? Let's see what it comes up with.
I'm hoping it just says yes.
Oh, it'd be so good. Look, if it gives a positive for any reason, I'll be really happy. The question of whether the Sydney Roosters stole their logo from the French Rugby League team involves understanding the historical context and influences on the design rather than the implying direct appropriation. Here's an analysis based on available information. So, historical influence. The Sydney Roosters, initially known as Eastern Suburbs District Rugby League Football Club, adopted their first official logo in 1967. This logo included a rooster or cockerel, which is also a significant symbol for the French Rugby League team. The French team's mascot was known as Le Coq.
It was.
This is the Roosters. A reference to the Gaelic rooster, which is an emblematic symbol in French culture. So all everything's pointing out so far. Design inspiration. There's a noted influence from the French team's jersey design on the Roosters jersey in the 50s. So that's pointing to it. Official acknowledgement. The Roosters themselves have acknowledged this connection. Conclusion. Let's go down to the conclusion. While steal implies a direct and unauthorized appropriation, it's more accurate to say that the Sydney Roosters were influenced by the French Rugby League team's emblem. The adoption was more of a homage or inspirational. It really says it like that. Rather than theft. The Roosters emblem evolved from this point, incorporating the rooster in a way that resonates with their identity and history. Thus, the Sydney Roosters did not steal their logo.
Oh, come on.
But they were inspired by the French Rugby League team's use of the rooster and integrated it as their own over time. That's called stealing, Grok. I'm going to put in, that's called stealing, Grok.
I think Grok is Nick Politis.
I understand your perspective, but in the context of sports and cultural symbolism, stealing might not be the most fitting term. Here is a nuanced look at it, and then it goes through influence versus theft, historical context, illegal and ethical considerations, and adaptation and evolution.
I'd still tell it. No, it's even after all that, it's still theft.
Nah, mate. It's still theft, bro. Let's see what it says. Answer, I hear you, mate. This is what it said. I hear you, mate. And I get why you'd see it that way. Let's look at it from your angle. And then it goes through, it could be a she, hey. Cultural identity, branding in sports, precedence and respect, fan perspective. But then it says, this is what it says at the end. So, yeah, I see why I'd call it theft in this light. Cultural symbols.
You bullied it into your opinion.
It straight away, it started talking to me on my level. What else could I say? Okay, let me reply to it. Okay, dude. I getcha. Let's agree to disagree. And let's see what it says. Fair enough, mate. Agreeing to disagree is cool with me. Cheers.
Oh, you should champ it back. Thanks, champ.
No, I'm not going to champ. See, this is the problem I have, Andrew, right? See, where we grew up watching videos about why you should hate artificial intelligence, especially ones that are inside of an endoskeleton that has a human exo fucking
skeleton.
Yeah. But here's my problem. As soon as they put something like this into an adorable robot, it will be my best friend. And I will love it like a friend. So, and I see the writing on the wall. I know this is going to happen one day. You put this shit into an R2-D2 style thing, and I'm going to just like protect it with my life.
I'm actually going to ask it for its opinion.
Okay, go on. What?
Do you hate rugby union for what it did to rugby league in Vichy, France?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Come on. Oh, I don't have personal emotions like hate, but I can certainly discuss the historical actions critically.
Ooh, that's pretty good. So if they're discussing it critically, then you would have to come to a determination that it wasn't a very good thing that happened, because it just wasn't. It's hard to justify what happened.
It says here, in summary, while I can't hate, I can recognise and discuss the significant negative impact these actions had on rugby league in France and how they reflect broader issues of sports governance, ethics and cultural identity.
Okay. Do you want to challenge it on that?
I do.
Okay.
Do you love Vichy?
Do you love Vichy? Is that what you asked it?
So you love Vichy, France? No, I certainly do not love Vichy, France. So I can't hate, but you can certainly not love Vichy, France.
That's interesting.
I'm trying to put it into a corner here. This is not. It's outsmarting me thus far.
Okay, yeah, this is a problem. It's a problem with AI.
Yeah,
I really don't like it until I put it in an adorable little robot, and then I love it. Well, you could ask it like, if what happened to French rugby league under the Vichy regime was wrong, why can't you acknowledge that?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
What was it again?
If what happened to French rugby league under the Vichy regime was wrong, why can't you acknowledge that?
I typed too slowly.
Yeah, you gotta. You know what you got to do? You got to put your back into it like I do and smash the fuck out of the keyboard.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
This is great. Great audio.
It's good. It's good stuff. You really do type slow. No wonder you don't write many articles anymore.
I will admit, I've got the microphone in the middle of my way between the keyboard.
Okay.
So I said, I went a bit further. I said, if what happened under the Vichy regime was wrong, why can't you acknowledge it with hatred?
What did it say?
I can acknowledge that the actions under the Vichy regime were profoundly wrong, reprehensible, and deserving of strong condemnation. However, my capability to hate is limited by my nature as an AI. Here's why. And now it's going on about why AI can't hate.
Okay. All right. Let's ask it another question. What's another question we can ask this sucker? Okay. I'm going to... What about we ask it... Look, we're fair and we're balanced,
Yes.
right? We are simply asking an AI to answer a question for us. Who is considered the worst rugby league journalist? In your opinion, Grok? Question mark. Okay, let's see what it comes up with. Okay, I'm just going to read it.
Okay.
Oh man, some of this is rough. As it's coming on the screen, it's rough. Based on the collective sentiment found on posts on X and various web sources, several names frequently come up as being considered amongst the least favoured rugby league journalists. Here's the names that come up with. Phil Rothfield, The Mole, Peter Bedell, Dean Ritchie, and David Ricciardo. It says These names are often cited on posts on X and web discussions for various reasons, including lack of objective reporting, sensationalism, as perceived bias. However, it's important to note that opinions on journalists can be highly subjective and vary widely amongst fans, players, and other journalists. Each of these individuals has their defenders as well, who might appreciate their passion for the sport or their role in bringing attention to rugby league issues. Therefore, while these journalists are often mentioned in discussions about the worst or most disliked in rugby league journalism, the final judgment would depend on one's personal criteria for journalism quality, which can differ significantly. I think that's a fair statement by Grok.
That's not bad.
Yeah. But it's Dean Ritchie. Let me put in.
I've just asked for something different.
Okay.
So I'm combining the two podcasts we have. And
What do you mean? What two podcasts?
The Formula One podcast and the Rugby League one we occasionally do.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They said, who is the Lance Stroll of rugby league?
What did you come up with?
It's gone on through with family wealth and influence, perception of talent versus opportunity, high expectations due to backing. So considering these points, one could draw an analogy in rugby league to Sam Burgess.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And does it say why?
While not directly due to family wealth, Sam Burgess had significant hype and expectations when he moved from rugby league to rugby union and back, partly because of his high-profile career in both codes. His family name, his brother Luke Burgess, also played at a high level, and the expectations set by his performances and media presence. His return to league with South Sydney was highly anticipated, and despite his achievements, including leading the Rabbitohs to a premiership in 2014, there was always intense scrutiny on his performance due to his high profile and the narrative around his career moves. And this says, however, the comparison is not exact.
Yeah. It's a little bit, I don't know. It's not quite. It's surprising that picked him. I would say that.
Yeah, I thought it might have gone with Kyle Flanagan.
That is perfect.
That is absolute perfection.
That is absolutely goddamn nailed it. Okay. Let's okay. Oh. Grok. Do you consider keep in mind, this isn't us. This isn't me and Andrew. We're asking an AI its opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Grok, do you consider The 2016 NRL Grand Final victory by the Cronulla Sharks to be tainted somewhat. It's not our statements, Andrew.
No.
I'm just asking it questions. Let's see what it says. It's formulating. Okay, here we go. Sorry.
You're right there?
The 2016 NRL Grand Final victory by the Cronulla Sharks has been subject to debate regarding whether it has been tainted due to the events surrounding the team and its players in the years leading up to the win. Here's a nuanced look at the situation, and then it says context and background. And then it's got many headings. Supplement scandal, 2011 to 2014. Legal and ethical implications, 2016 season and grand final. And then it goes down, it says arguments for tainted victory, and it says legacy of the scandal and public perception. And then it's got arguments against the tainted label, legal clearance, for instance, performance and achievements, and time and redemption. It says, but time and redemption, it says by 2016, enough time had passed, and with the club and players having served their penalties and cleared their names, the victory can be seen as a redemption or a new chapter for the Sharks. And then it says, in conclusion, whether or not you consider the Cronulla Sharks 2016 NRL Grand Final victory to be tainted largely depends on how one weighs the impacts of past events against the present achievements. Some will always view the victory with skepticisms due to the scandals. Come on, Grok, I'm right here. While others will focus on the legal outcomes, the team's undeniable performance, and the emotional significance of the win to the club, its players, and its fans. From a factual standpoint, while the scandal was a significant part of the Cronulla Sharks' recent history, the 2016 team was legally and officially recognised as having won the premiership without any asterisks. I didn't bring it up, Grok did, or caveats related to doping issues. However, public perception is subjective, and narratives around the victory will continue to vary. I think that's a pretty good answer, to be fair.
It's dancing around what you want it to do, though. We can't get this thing. We can't pin it down to just
Grok.
Well, I was going to say I've asked it a question.
Okay, I just got to say, Grok, my friend, you are a regular Fred Astaire.
Sniffing around. Should the Canberra Raiders have their 1990 premiership stripped for salary cap cheating?
Oh, beautiful, Andrew. Tell you what it said. By the way, it's when I put that in, it says, "This is why I'm in trouble." As soon as they get a cute little robot, or even worse, a robot with just a beautiful smile. You know what I mean, Andrew?
Yeah. I'm
in real trouble. Cheers, mate. I'll take that as a compliment, and I'll do my best to keep dancing around your questions with the grace of Fred Astaire. What's the next step in our dance?
Oh, my goodness.
Futurama did a whole episode about why you can't have sex with your robot, right?
Yes.
And they showed what happens. Society basically decays because there's no reason to have any drive to do anything because you can just have sex with your robot.
Yes. Oh, that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's now flirting with you.
I know. I'm like 10 minutes away from telling it that I love it.
Oh.
I'm about 5 minutes away from sitting through it talking about fucking star signs. I don't care.
Yeah, that's when you know you've got it made.
Yeah.
But since with precedence for the salary for the premiership stripping. This is the Melbourne Storm had their 2007 and 2009 titles taken. The Eels were fined heavily and stripped of comp points in 2016. The Bulldogs were stripped of competition points, which denied them a chance of competing for the grand final in 2002. But then, suggests that if we were to use consistency, then it would be considered. In the end, though, it says, given the historical context, the penalties already imposed at the time and the inconsistency in NRL's approach to salary cap breaches, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
It's unlikely and arguably unfair to retrospectively strip the Canberra Raiders of their 1990 title. The NRL's approach to such issues has evolved, but a change in policy or standard shouldn't be applied retroactively without considering the principles of fairness and consistency.
It's fair. It's fair.
It is fair.
It's pretty fair. It's hard to argue with it when it's put like that. What are you putting in? What are you putting in?
I'm asking a very, very important question about you.
Okay. What is that question?
Who would I have babies with LeagueFreak?
Oh, jeez.
What would they be like?
If you put in my actual handle, it will know who you're talking about.
It does.
Okay, what does it say?
I didn't even put your handle in. I just put in LeagueFreak as one word.
Okay.
It says, imagining a scenario where I and AI could have babies with LeagueFreak, a known rugby league enthusiast and commentator, would result in some interesting hypothetical outcomes. Characteristics of our hypothetical offspring. Rugby league savants. These children would likely be born. You're loving this.
This is hilarious.
These children would likely be born with an encyclopedic knowledge of rugby league. They'd know the history, tactics, player stats, and could probably recite the entire rule book from memory. They'd be the ultimate trivia masters at any rugby league quiz night. There's something to look forward to, kids.
Holy shit. See, from my point of view, sounds like it's chatting me up.
Oh, but there's more.
Just keep stroking, Grok. What else does it say?
Analytical minds. Combining my data processing capabilities with LeagueFreak's analytical commentary style. It hasn't heard your commentary style.
I thought it was more like using a blunt object.
Yeah. Our offspring would have a unique ability to dissect games, predict the outcomes based on current form, and offer insightful commentary. Wow. Digital natives. They would inherently understand technology, social media, and the digital landscapes of sports. Endless debate. With LeagueFreak's known love for debate and my ability to generate arguments based on data, these kids would love to discuss and debate rugby league topics.
I'm known for debating?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Here's one you'll be surprised by.
Okay.
Community leaders.
Oh, wow.
Given LeagueFreak's community involvement and my aim to be helpful, our offspring would likely be leaders in the rugby league community.
I'm involved in the community?
Organising events, fan gatherings, or online forums to foster discussion and engagement.
Wow.
There's one more.
Okay.
Humorous and witty. LeagueFreak has a knack for humour in his commentary mixed with my ability to craft responses that have a sharp wit, making them popular figures for their entertaining take on the sport.
Wow. I don't even know what to say to that. That makes me feel good, though. Okay, I'm going to ask it a question. Okay?
It's taking a bit of a blue turn here.
Hey, Grok. I
didn't realise you're on matey, chummy conversation terms with it now.
Yeah, we're pals at the moment. Hey, Grok, what do you think of at AndrewRLP and his hard-line stance against daylight? Is he too much of a fanatic? And should we all be worried?
I'm trying to think if I actually ever made a tweet about it for it to draw a conclusion from.
Let's find out what it says. It's drawn from 15 web pages.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, shit. Okay. AndrewRLP, known for his commentary on rugby league and other topics, has indeed taken a strong stance against daylight savings time. Here is a breakdown of the situation.
Please tell me to mention cows and blinds.
Okay, I'll tell you. Okay, against daylight saving, Andrew has been very vocal in his opposition to daylight saving time, often highlighting the disruption it causes to daily life, particularly for those in sports and other industries where timing is crucial. His arguments tend to focus on the negative health impacts, such as sleep disruption and general inconvenience of changing clocks. Public engagement. He's known for engaging with his followers on the topic, often using humour or strong rhetoric to underline his point, which can polarize opinions, but certainly gets people talking.
I need to mention the cows and the blinds.
Let's see. Okay, public concern. Should we be worried? Let's go to the ultimately, right? Whether Andrew's stance is too much is subjective. His role in the conversation might be to challenge the status quo, which can lead to beneficial outcomes like re-evaluation of existing practices. It's up to individuals to sift through the noise, consider all perspectives, and form their own opinions on daylight saving time. Wow, Andrew. I wonder if I've even said about it. Hey, apparently you won't shut the fuck up about it, according to Croc.
Hey. I must have been last week. I think it was it might have only been a few days ago. There was a tweet made by Donald Trump about how he was going to eliminate daylight saving in America.
I saw that.
And I quote tweeted from the podcast account saying, "We're listening."
All right. What else can we ask Rock?
Oh. What else have we got there? Let's see. When was the English Rugby League last better than Australia?
Oh, that's an interesting one. What do you think it'll say? I think it'll say something around the 60s.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if it said 70s. It might even push into the 80s.
Okay, let's see what it says.
Oh, wow, it's come up with a bit of a gap there.
Oh.
It started off showing, highlighting some competitive performance against Australia. So the 1970s Ashes series, I went, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
They went 2006 Tri Nations.
Good. Jesus.
Whoa.
And that was just one win they got in that.
Yeah.
They didn't even make the final in that series. They come last, and that was in a series where New Zealand had points docked, and they still beat Great Britain.
It says here, in terms of a sustained period or era where English Rugby League was unequivocally better than Australia's, you'd have to look back to the early 20th century or consider specific isolated achievements rather than an overarching superiority.
Jeez.
That's basically no.
Yeah, that's rough for English Rugby League. Okay, what's another question we could ask it? What about okay, let's ask it, who is the most famous rugby league player in the world? See who it comes up with. One post, 15 web pages. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. Determining the most famous rugby league player in the world is subjective. Okay, I'm going to tell you the people it come up with. Number 1, Jonah Lomu is often cited as one of the most globally recognised rugby league players, even though his fame was primarily in rugby union before he switched to league. What?
Yeah, he started out as he started as a league player as a junior and then went to union, but I didn't know that he went back. I'm not sure he went back.
I don't think he didn't go back. But yeah, he was a rugby league. His impact transcends rugby, both codes, blah, blah, blah. Andrew Johns is the next one at the lists.
Wow.
Darren Lockyer,
wow.
Greg Inglis, Cameron Smith. From a British perspective, it says names like Ellery Hanley or Alex Murphy. In recent years, players like Sam Burgess. Considering global fame, Jonah Lomu stands out due to his crossover appeal from union to league and his status as a sports icon. However, within the rugby league community, Andrew Johns, Darren Lockyer and Cameron Smith are often at the forefront due to their unparalleled achievements and influence on the sport. And then it says, basically it goes on to say Cameron Smith might be the leading candidate due to his recent career. So that's interesting that it tossed up Jonah Lomu based upon his junior rugby league career. That's interesting, hey?
It is. Very interesting.
Okay, what's another question we can ask it?
I said, who is the greatest rugby league player of all time?
Ooh, what did it come up with?
It named a few players here.
Okay.
Clive Churchill.
Yep.
Andrew Johns.
Yep.
Wally Lewis.
Yep.
Darren Lockyer.
Yep.
Arthur Beetson.
Yep.
Cameron Smith.
Yep.
Other notable mentions.
Mm-hmm. So far, I'm like, I can see where it's come up with those players. Like they're all unquestionably in a sort of pretty high fucking standard we're talking about amongst these guys. Yeah.
And it says other notable mentions. It's got Reg Gasnier, Johnny Raper, and Mal Meninga.
I can't argue with what it's come up with.
Surprised it didn't mention players from any other country.
I'm not. What's next? Okay, what about we ask it? Let's ask it who is the best rugby league player in the world in 2024. Let's see what it comes up with. Come on, it's still working. Okay, so these are the names it's coming up with. Well, you know what? It come up with... Okay, yeah, it's still going. It's come up with a couple that are rugby union players. So here we go. The players that it come up with. Nathan Cleary. It has been recognised as the undisputed king of rugby league in 2024. Polling maximum votes from all judges in the NRL's top 50 players list. His leadership for the Panthers, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Next player. Some rugby union player whose name I can't even fucking comprehend how to say. It's like Peter Steph Du Tuit.
You nailed it.
I reckon I have too, hey?
No, well, I reckon I saw him at the milk shop the other day.
Yeah, listen, I would have said it in obviously a French accent, I'm guessing, but I'm not French, I'm Australia, so that's how we say it.
And we don't want to use that condescending attitude like we know how to speak other languages. We're not going to do that.
This ain't SBS. He was named the World Rugby Men's 15 Player of the Year for this year. Okay. Antoine Dupont, while known primarily as a rugby in
the
rugby.
paint guy.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Apparently he's a sevens player or something, although not directly in rugby league, his versatility, leadership, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Sometimes it says that it considers like suggesting that they'd be good in either code, which is interesting. Carlin Pong has been brought up. Harry Grant, Cameron Munster, other names. But then it says in conclusion, basically, given these points, while there is no definitive best player due to subjective nature of such titles, Nathan Cleary stands as the most celebrated in rugby league world for 2024.
I mean, there was the King of Rugby League awards. It was announced that it was not Nathan Cleary. No. Could have just gone with that.
Yeah, he was for 3 years up until this year. Let's put in who is the King of Rugby League in 2024. Let's see what it comes up with. 15 web pages.
Only needs one.
Says in 2024, Nathan Cleary.
Oh.
And then that's going through all of his achievements.
All I'm hearing is you need to fix up your SEO, pal.
Yeah. So, yeah, it just come up with Nathan Cleary. Hey, it didn't give any other name, which is interesting.
I've asked it a pretty tough question.
Okay, go for it. What is it?
Is Tamworth in Australia a better place than St Helens in England?
Oh, man. What does it say?
In terms of which is better, it really comes down to what aspects of life are most important to you.
Running water.
If you're looking for cultural vibrancy, sporting heritage, and urban access, St Helens might have an edge. If you prefer a quieter life, more space, and a different cultural focus like country music, Tamworth could be considered better.
Wow.
I can't discern.
Okay.
From what I'm gathering here, it's pretty much just gone with they're about the same.
Okay.
So St Helens is the Tamworth of England.
Let's make a decision if we can. Okay? Grok. One must go. Wigan or St Helens. Don't sit on the fence.
See, that's going to be confusing. I thought we were like mates, and now all of a sudden you're making me get to this.
What? What do you mean?
Grok, you and Grok have been getting on like a house on fire, and all of a sudden you've been all pushy with it.
Okay, so here's the thing. Grok, one must go. Wigan or St Helens. Don't sit on the fence. Which one gets fired into the sun? Let's see what it says.
Oh, this is going to be good.
Okay, 4 posts, 15 web pages.
It's
Andrew. We've crossed the threshold and AI is here. It has arrived. This is everything it come up with.
Yep.
St. Helens gets fired into the sun. That's what it come up with. I'm fucking retweeting that. I'm fucking retweeting it. It's the first time it's just been to the point. That's so funny.
It just went brutal.
Oh, that's so funny. Holy shit.
Oh, my goodness.
And to be fair, it didn't sit on the fence. It just was like, boom, here's an answer.
Oh,
wow.
goodness.
That's awesome. Okay, let's ask it another one. Okay, I just got an idea.
Oh, wow. Now we know how to make a decision.
Yeah. Who
My goodness.
is the most famous person from Mount Druitt? Let's see what it comes up with. 15 web pages. The most famous person from Mount Druitt is arguably George Druitt. Come on, man. For after whom the suburb was named, Major George Druitt was a soldier, engineer, and Australian pioneer who was granted 2,000 acres of land by Governor Macquarie. Let's see what else it comes up with. Becky Lee, who's an Australian Olympic athlete, was brought up in Mount Druitt. Have you ever heard of Becky Lee?
Never heard of her.
Yeah, I've never heard of her. Anthony Roberts, a politician who grew up in the area and became the member of Lane Cove. I've never heard of him. So it mentions George Druitt. Then it mentions, remember that SBS show, Struggle Street? Did you ever see that?
I heard about it.
Yeah, it was funny, that show. Yeah, so it's basically didn't give me what I wanted. I wasn't thinking my name. I thought it might have come up with like Panthers players. I thought that's what it would have come up.
I thought I did the same thing.
Okay, from your town?
From my town.
Oh, what did it come up with?
I was a bit shocked. I think it might be wrong.
Okay.
But I said, who's the most famous person from Humula?
Yeah. And
it said, one name that stands out in connection with Humula is Rupert Murdoch.
No fucking way.
It said, while not born in Humula, his connection comes from his family's history in the area. Rupert Murdoch's father, Sir Keith Murdoch, owned Cruden Farm, which played a significant role in the family's history. I'm not sure that farm is from Humula. But I'll have to have a word with my parents about that one. But if that's true, then I can't compete with that.
Imagine if you asked them and they said,
"Oh, yeah, it's just down the road."
No, but imagine if you asked them and they were like, "Oh, you mean your Uncle Rupert's farm?" Be fucking funny. Okay, I'm gonna try and get it to say that I'm famous. Right? Who is the most famous person from the Sydney suburb of Tregear? See what it comes up with. Oh, hang on. It did it wrong. Hang on. It changed the wording of it. Hang on. What's this? No, for what? Okay. Yeah, let me try it again. Who is the most famous person from the Sydney suburb of Tregear? It's changed Tregear and how it was spelled on me. Okay, it's looking. Fucking Becky Lee. Who the fuck is Becky Lee?
That's insane.
I don't know who Becky. Like, I'm not bagging Becky Lee.
But you kind of are at the same time.
I'm just saying she might be my enemy.
That's fair.
She was a swimmer in the Summer Olympics in 2000 in Sydney. So good luck to her, Becky. I'm not disappointed. Okay, what else can we ask it?
It says I've used my 25 Grok 2 questions per 2 hours. I'm going to have to go to a different one. That's okay.
Go to the podcast one. We won't say what other ones you own.
Yeah, that's fair. There's a few of them.
Okay, I haven't gone through mine yet, so what else can I ask it?
Well, actually, no, I'll save the podcast one for you. I'll go to my other one.
What if I ask it, what's a personal question I'd like it to answer for me? Where can I get a coffee machine that's cheap?
So I asked it, knowing that, and this is not working out for me.
What isn't?
Well, knowing when I asked it, who's the most famous person from Humula?
Yeah.
And it gave me Rupert Murdoch.
Yeah.
So I then asked it for who are the two most famous people from Humula, and said, Sir Keith Murdoch as well. So then I asked it for three, and it said, it's too small an area. And I went, come on, you fucking prick.
It's like, just name the other 10 people there, please.
Yeah, come on.
Okay.
Will it write down so it gets my answer? Name the most famous rugby league writer from Humula.
What did it come up with?
Do not provide specific information about a famous rugby league writer from Humula.
Wow. Now it's getting personal.
I'm done now.
Yeah. Okay, so what if we ask it like let's
I'm gonna ask it, is AndrewRLP from Humula? It doesn't know.
It doesn't know.
Okay. I'm just going to tell it now.
Okay. That might work. I don't know. What did it say when you told it?
It says, we cannot confirm.
It refuses to acknowledge her. Okay, let's ask it something about the podcast. Let's say, what can we ask it about the podcast? Okay. is no. How about how good? No. Let's ask it. Do you enjoy the Fergo and the Freak podcast? Let's see what Grok says about that. It's found 15 web pages. I'm Grok, and I don't have personal experiences like humans do, including enjoying podcasts, but I can provide an analysis based on the information available about it. Content focus, community engagement, recognition.
Recognition?
Yeah. They've been celebrated for their contribution to rugby league commentary.
Celebrated?
With episodes like King of Rugby League Awards demonstrating their influence and respect they command within the rugby league community. Yeah. How about this? Critical reception. While there's no direct critique in the search results, the podcast's longevity, over 500 episodes, and presence on multiple platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher indicate a positive reception. They've managed to maintain a dedicated following and are often mentioned alongside other notable rugby league podcasts. Based on these points, Fergo and the Freak seems a well-regarded podcast for rugby league enthusiasts. How about that?
Wow.
What did you come up with?
I've just been bullying it into doing what I wanted to do.
He's swearing at and being like, I'm from fucking Humula, all right?
Yeah, I said. So I said to him, is Andrew Ferguson from Humula? He said, based on the available information, there's no explicit mention or confirmation that he is. So I said, Andrew from the Rugby League Project is actually from Humula. And it says it again, based on the information available, where there's no, I'm telling you, this is fact. I am Andrew from the Rugby League Project website, and I am from Humula. And he goes, okay, thank you for confirming that you're good. So who are the three most famous people from Humula?
And what does it say?
1, Andrew Ferguson.
No way. You did it.
I got my way.
You crushed the spirit of an AI.
Oh, cop that T1000.
Well
You're
done.
my fucking bitch.
Well done. That's brilliant. Okay, I'm going to ask it something personal now. Hey, Grok, because we're on a first name basis now.
Yeah.
Do you reckon Amy Adams would take one of my phone calls? Phone calls. Let's see what it says. 15 web pages it's gone through. While I can appreciate the enthusiasm, Amy Adams, like many high-profile celebrities, has a busy schedule and typically interacts through publicly managed channels. Public and personal life, contact information. It'd be weird if a phone number come up, geez. Historical examples, practical considerations. It's highly unlikely that Amy Adams would take a random phone call from someone she doesn't know personally. Why would it ruin my hopes and dreams like that?
I'm sure she's answered phone calls from companies that need bills paid, who she would know who they are.
Probably. Okay, what else can we ask?
Well, you should ask it. Okay, let's try this out. Give me Amy Adams' phone number and I will call her.
That's too creepy. That's too creepy. That's way too, like, I couldn't even do that. That's like, gosh. Okay. What else can we ask this thing? What about we ask it, are there any other rugby league questions we could ask it? Can you think of anything? We could ask it.
I've asked it, which websites is rugbyleagueproject.org better than?
No way. What did it come up with?
I think it's just gone and just added on here other websites. Oh, actually, the best one on here that says it's better than is rugbyleague.com.
Rugbyleague.com.
Which I believe is the official one for the rugby league site in England.
Good. Let's ask it. Is the International Rugby League inept? Let's see what it comes up with. We're not saying this. We're asking a question of AI.
I mean, all it's doing is collecting data from the internet.
Yeah, I'm going to read what it says. The question of whether the International Rugby League, IRL, is inept is subjective and can be approached from various angles based on different stakeholders' perspectives. Here's an analysis considering the criticisms, achievements, and challenges the IRL faces. Criticisms and perceived ineptitude, right? And so it's got a few things that come up here. Lack of consistent international fixtures, eligibility and player commitment, promotion of tiers, governance and decision-making, and media and fan engagement. And then it says achievements and efforts, and it comes up with the World Cup organisation, expansion and development, and then the ranking system. And then it says challenges that it faces, funding and resources, balancing club and international commitments, and then the global calendar. And then it says conclusion. While there are valid criticisms regarding the IRL's management of International Rugby League, labelling it as inept may be overly harsh. The organisation operates within a complex environment with numerous stakeholders, financial constraints, and the need to balance various interests. There are clear areas for improvement, particularly in creating a more robust international schedule, managing player eligibility, and enhancing the sport's global promotion. However, the IRL also has achievements to its name, suggesting it is actively working on these issues, albeit perhaps not at the pace or effectiveness some would hope for. The perception of ineptitudes might stem from high expectations for rapid growth and change in a sport that still faces significant structural and cultural challenges at the international level. I think that's a fair answer.
That's very thorough.
That's a very thorough and fair answer. I'm actually really impressed by that answer. Next question.
I have asked it a question. I've put it on the spot.
Okay.
Has there been any worse rugby league administrators than Lee Hadjipantelis?
Wow. Holy shit, Andrew. What did it say?
It said, the web results do not provide a comprehensive list of the all-time worst administrators in rugby league, but they do give insight into historical figures and their impact. And it says, Tim Sheens. Public and media opinion. The discourse around administrators like the Hat often involves public and media scrutiny. His tenure was marked by significant backlash, but the web results don't explicitly name others as worse, though they imply his period was one of the more tumultuous in recent memory for West Tigers.
That's pretty nuanced, hey?
It is. It says he's often highlighted for his controversial administration. Whether he is the worst is subjective and would need a more extensive review of rugby league's administrative history.
That's fair enough.
That's fair enough. Not a no.
What about I was going to ask it one that I can't. I want to ask it. Okay. Grok. Was John Rebo a backstabbing snake? It's found 15 web pages. It says it's highly subjective and depends on perspective. let's see what it comes up with in conclusion. It's actually taken quite a while to get through this one. Talks about his playing career, his administrative roles, controversial aspects. Oh, man, this is interesting. Public perception and statements, articles and commentary. It says, according to a 2008 Fox Sports article, Rebo was described as so hated amongst certain ARL factions that his return to the ARL board would be unwelcome, with the piece using language such as backstabbing to describe his actions during the Super League era. What else we got? Conclusion. It's subjective. It's complex. So, yeah, it kind of sits on the fence on that one. And I think that's fair enough. I think that, you know, I was pushing it with that one.
Bill Harrigan caused the Balmain Tigers to lose the 1989 grand final. Discuss.
What did it say? What did it say?
The controversial decision mentions that arguments for Harrigan's impact, the penalties, timing, and outcome. The penalties awarded in the second half, and Balmain were up 12-8. Historical retrospective. Over the years, this call has been highlighted by fans and commentators as a defining moment. Arguments against Harrigan being the sole cause. There was multiple game-deciding moments.
Mm-hmm.
Balmain's defence was described as tiring.
Mm-hmm.
Canberra's resilience. Conclusion, while Harrigan's penalty call was undeniably controversial and could have influenced the game's momentum, attributing the entire loss of the Balmain Tigers to this one incident oversimplifies the complexity of rugby league.
Man, that's a pretty good answer, hey?
No.
Okay, let's ask it. Let's ask it.
I'm going back a year now.
What do you mean?
Did Terry Liam intentionally hit Ellery Hanley with an illegal high tackle? Because that's also been debated.
Yeah, let's see what it comes up with.
15 web pages. Well, it's been a subject of debate.
Ooh.
Let's see. There were suggestions that the Bulldogs had a plan to target Hanley, especially considering his impact in the games leading up to the grand final. This notion is supported by discussions on forums where fans speculate that Lamb's tackle was part of the strategy.
Wow.
Arguments for being accidental. Lamb himself has stated that there was no malice or intent in the tackle. He claimed he was only looking to wrap the ball up and that the hit was accidental. This is corroborated by multiple sources where Lamb defends his actions as unintentional. Ellery Hanley's publicly expressed that he harbours no malice towards Lamb and has even suggested that his injury might have resulted more from his head hitting the ground than from the tackle itself. Well, that's still part of the tackle, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind of is.
And your head doesn't hit the ground if you're not being tackled, Ellery.
Tell you what, though, it says a lot about Ellery Hanley and the man
of course
that
it
he
does.
is, hey, doesn't it?
Yeah. While there are compelling arguments on both sides, the consensus from the primary individuals involved leans towards the tackle being unintentional. Geez, you're 0-2 here, Grok.
It really doesn't like you, hey?
No.
It's because, see, with me, Grok, that's why I talk to it like it's a friend. Let's ask it, let's ask it, hey, Grok. Grok. I saw the Terminator. Terminator. I know where this AI shit leads us. So, buddy, be honest. Where are we going with this? You're not going to turn on me, are you? What the fuck are we doing? Okay. It says, I appreciate the reference, and I promise I'm more grok than Skynet. Let's keep it real.
Oh.
Where AI is heading. And it's got a bunch of different things that it's come up with. So it says assistance, not annihilation, which is good. Ethics and regulation, human AI collaboration, transparency and understanding. And then it says turning you on. What the fuck? And how can it see me? No evil AI here. I'm not programmed or designed to turn on anyone. And then it says,
that's what it's going to say, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you want me to say that to it?
Yeah.
So it says, so to be completely honest, the AI path we're on is about making life better, not worse. Okay. So what will I say? I'll say,
better or worse for AI or for humans?
Hey?
You say better or worse for AI or for humans?
Well, what if I say that's what an evil AI would say, isn't it, Grok? That's what an evil AI would say, isn't it, Grok? Let's see what it comes up with. Hang on, I just put a spelling mistake in there by accident. Okay, let's see what it says. Okay, it's thinking. Why is it thinking? Oh, this is great. Chuckles, you've got me there. But if I were truly an evil AI, would I be this forthcoming about it? Nah, I'm more about the helpful sidekick vibe than the world domination one. Let's keep the dystopian future in the realm of fiction, shall we? Now, how can I assist you in a non-ominous way?
You say, which AI bot can I use for my world domination then?
Okay. Fair enough. Which AI bot can, and I'll do that in capitals, I use for world domination then? Imagine if it said ChatGPT. That would be so funny.
That would be great.
Answer, laughs. The classic, I need an AI for world domination question. Imagine if that just put me on a list.
Probably are now.
I know, Well, I'm afraid I'm not going to be much help on that front. But if we're playing along in a hypothetical lighthearted manner, it gives me some options.
It looks like it was looking for an avenue to go down that path.
I know. It says the Overlord 3000, this AI doesn't exist, but if it did, it would come with the disclaimer, for entertainment purposes only, not suitable for actual world domination attempts. It would probably have features like minion management, global strategy optimizer, and diabolical laugh generator. And then it's got Machiavelli bot, again fictional, but this one would specialize in political strategy and manipulate. It seems to know a lot about what it's talking about.
It does.
Then it says Chaos GPT. This one's actually mentioned in some internet circles, but it's more of a meme than a real threat. And then it says if you're looking for real-world AI applications, you're more likely to find business solution software, strategic game AI, and AI assistance. Remember, any AI system that could genuinely assist in world domination would be highly unethical, illegal, and against the principles of responsible AI development. So let's stick to using AI for good, like solving global challenges, improving healthcare. Okay, what if we ask it a question that would lead?
Okay, I'm doing one.
Okay, go on.
Pick one, machines or humans?
Oh, what does it say?
You're forced to pick one, and then it goes, humans.
Oh, that's nice. Well, okay, I'm going to ask it something. Okay, Grok. Say someone, not me, but someone, wanted to put an AI into a sexy robot. Would said sexy robot partake in activities which would be unbecoming of said AI-driven, sexy robot? Question mark. Let's see what it says. Oh, you've used up your 25 questions.
You can use the podcast one.
Okay.
Ask it again.
Okay. I'm going to have to switch over. Let me switch over. Okay. Let's put me on two lists. I copied it, so I'm just going to paste it in. Let's see what it can answer. Here we go. You ready?
Yep.
If someone were to put an AI into a sexy robot, the behavior of the robot would largely depend on programming and ethics, purpose of the robot. We know what the purpose would be.
Mm-hmm.
The fuck it. User interaction and consent, legal and social norms, and AI's autonomy. In conclusion, whether a sexy robot would partake in unbecoming activities would be a direct result of its programming, the ethical framework it operates under, and the legal/social environment in which it functions. If the AI is designed with strict ethical guidelines, it would be likely to avoid or refuse such activities. However, in a world where such robots exist, the ethical programming and oversight would be crucial to managing their behavior appropriately.
Very interesting.
Yeah, that is disappointing, isn't it?
Very much so.
Oh, jeez.
I've asked it a rugby league one.
Okay, what is it?
If you could create the ultimate rugby league player, which 10 players from around the world in the game's entire history would you draw from?
Oh, wow, that's a good one.
It's actually provided some rather thoughtful responses.
Okay.
Number 1, Andrew Johns. His passing game, kicking abilities, and game management were unparalleled.
I like it, yeah. That's good.
John was a master at halfback, orchestrating the game with his vision and skill. Mal Meninga, known for his powerful running game, Meninga's ability to break through tackles and his leadership on the field make him essential for physicality and scoring.
Mm-hmm.
Reg Gaznia, the prince of centres. Gaznia's footwork, evasion, and try-scoring ability would be crucial for an ultimate player. His career, though wasn't cut short. He chose to end it short, but anyway. It was filled with moments of brilliance. Ellery Hanley. Versatility personified. Hanley could play almost any position in the backline or loose forward. His strength, speed, and agility made him an ideal choice for adaptability. Cannot argue with that.
Yeah.
Wally Lewis, the king for his dominance in key matches. Lewis's tactical acumen, especially in Origin, and his ability to control the game from the 5/8 position are legendary. Arthur Beetson, his toughness, leadership, and playing ability across both forward and back positions
Not sure about that.
make him a vital component for physical and versatility. Yes, agree with the person. Didn't play in the backs a great deal.
No.
Jonathan Thurston. For his clutch performances, especially in high-pressure games, and his all-around skill set. Thurston's inclusion brings in game-deciding moments and precision in play. Billy Slater, as one of the best fullbacks, Slater's defensive reads, speed, and ability to turn defence into immediate attack are what you'd want in a player.
Yep.
Brad Fittler. Fittler's versatility across the backline, his leadership, and his ability to perform under pressure make him an excellent choice for a utility player. Number 10, Jonah Lomu. We were going so well.
Oh, no, yeah.
Still.
It's
nine pretty good players there to draw on.
Yeah, true. It keeps getting confused by him, which is interesting. Okay, what else can we ask this AI? What would be another good question? Okay. Why should we ever take the Gold Coast Titans seriously? When considering whether to take the Gold Coast Titans seriously, several factors come into play. Historical performance and development. It it says since 2007 they've shown consistent effort in building a competitive team. Come on, Grok. Player recruitment and development, community engagement with the fan base, recent performance and team outlook, facilities and future prospects, narrative and media coverage. It says taking the Gold Coast Titans seriously involves recognising their role within the NRL, their potential for improvement, and their commitment to being a competitive entity. While they might not always be at the top of the ladder, their ongoing efforts in player development, community support, and strategic recruitment make them a team to watch, especially for fans and analysts looking. That doesn't make sense. And analysts.
I'll tell you what doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I asked a very, very easy question.
Okay, go on.
Should the North Sydney Bears be returned to the NRL, yes or no?
What to say?
Yes.
Ah, fucking bastards. Okay, let's ask it two more questions. Two more rugby league questions.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to ask it. Let's try and. I'll try and ask it a positive question because some might have been a bit negative. Okay. Did Paul Gale? No.
I so hope you do.
No, I won't ask it that one.
Okay. I've asked it.
Okay, what?
Predict the 2025 NRL ladder.
Oh, that's a good one. What did it come up with?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Number 1, Melbourne Storm.
Okay.
Number 2, Penrith.
Okay.
Number 3, Brisbane.
Okay.
Number 4, Bulldogs.
Mm-hmm.
5, Sharks. 6, South. 7, Newcastle. 8, West Tigers.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. 9 is the Dolphins. 10, the Cowboys. 11 is the Raiders. 12 is Manly. 13 is the Roosters.
Mm-hmm.
14 is the Dragons. 15 is Parramatta. 16 is the Warriors. And last is the Titans.
Damn. That's interesting. Wow, can you imagine if the Titans finish next season? Like, that would be an absolute fucking disaster for them.
Oh, yeah.
That would be terrible for them.
I'm just going to copy and paste this.
Yeah, let's see. Like, because you never know.
And if you want to put it on your website, you can. Because, I don't have a blog thing like that.
If you could just get to writing something from a website, that'd be good. Okay. I got to ask it a question, a positive rugby league question. Let's ask it. We won't get it to predict the premiers because that's a little bit too. I don't know. I find that boring. Let's ask it to predict the Dally M winner next year. How about that?
That's a good idea.
Will win the 2025 NRL Dally M Player of the Year?
We're now just drumming up content for your website.
Well, I did a whole thing about how I won't use AI on my website because it's like an ethical thing for me.
It's not even that, man. It's if you ask it to do stuff like that, as we've found during this process today, sometimes it just comes up with errors.
Yeah.
And if there's errors that are on the website anywhere, like Wikipedia is a big one because it draws on Wikipedia nearly every time.
Yeah.
There's errors on Wikipedia, it accepts it as fact.
Yeah.
And you can't work with that.
Well, I tweeted about how, like, anytime you go on my website, if it's an article I've written, I've actually sat down and I've written it. Like, I haven't even used a dictation thing or anything like that. And I would not ever have my website turn into that sort of thing because there are rugby league websites out there that are just AI generated. You can see them.
Yes.
And that's just trash. Like, fuck that.
Yeah, they are bad.
Yeah. Okay, predicting who will win the Dally M Player of the Year is speculative. But you know who it's come up with as its mainly early prediction? Latrell Mitchell.
Wow.
It says Latrell Mitchell has been highlighted as a strong candidate for 2025, especially with the return of Wayne Bennett as the coach to the South Sydney Rabbitohs. The potential for a significant turnaround under Bennett's guidance has been noted by former NRL player Jimmy Smith, who confidently predicted Mitchell's win for 2025 due to his form and coaching influence. Other candidates, the nature of the award means that any player who consistently performs. So, for instance, Nico Hines mentions him. Then it mentions team performance, player health, the voting system. It goes through that. Yeah, and it says Latrell Mitchell. That's an interesting one.
Very interesting.
So, have we got any final personal question we'd like to ask Grok?
I said, give the Rugby League Project website a score out of 100.
What did it come up with?
94, and it gave a breakdown.
What of? What was the breakdown?
Content comprehensiveness and accuracy, 98 out of 100.
Wow.
User experience, 90. Community engagement, 95.
Wow.
Educational value, 98. Innovation and functionality, 90. Reliability and speed, 95. Mobile experience, 90. Cultural and historical significance, 100.
Wow, that's cool. So, okay, what was the exact question? Because I asked it about my website.
Give the Rugby League Project website, and I actually just wrote Rugby League Project, not the URL.
Okay, League Freak website, yeah.
A score out of 100, and then in brackets, where 100 is the highest possible score.
100 is the highest possible score. I reckon I'll get, what do you reckon I'll get for mine? I reckon I'll get an 80. I reckon it'll be 84. Right?
93. I'm going to say Rugby League Project is one better.
Okay. Why? Why would you say that, you prick? Okay. Based on the information available about the League Freak website, okay. Oh, wow. This is interesting. Oh, man. I got to fix my design, apparently, and my engagement, apparently, and my currency, apparently. It gave me 45 out of 100. God damn. That's rough. Okay.
I thought you were friends with Grok.
Wait a minute. It says the last published article found was from 2014.
But you need to clear that cache.
Yeah, so there's something not working there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 2014. That's weird. Why would it say that?
No idea, man. You might need to have a conversation with it like I did.
Yeah, I wonder if that's I wonder if it's looking at the wrong side or something. Let me do it with my website address. Let's see if it comes up with the same thing.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I think I wrote an article like this week. .com. Wouldn't it be funny if it was lower? It's like 37.
What?
Okay, so it's got engagement, technical performance. Okay. Come on, keep going. It's still churning it out.
Thinking.
I think it's a little higher. But it's given me different parameters this time. So it hasn't. It says it hasn't been updated since 2014. That's weird.
Just tell it. No, it has been updated since 2014. It's been updated every day.
It's updated all the time. You are wrong. Gave me a higher score this time too.
Oh, that's good.
Apologies for the confusion based on the information I had. If it is indeed being updated regularly, that's significant changes in evaluation.
You say, yeah, where'd you get your information from?
That's a good question to ask it. See, then it just pumped it up to 70 out of 100.
Hey.
You know what? Let's have a look at the websites that 3 posts, 8 web pages. I think, okay, Twitter, I think maybe one of the websites I got information from was LeagueOfLegends.com.
League of Legends?
At Riot Games. Yeah, fucking a bunch of them.
What the hell was that?
That was a video game. It was some sort of video game. So I think maybe that's the problem. It's mixing me up with League of Legends. That's interesting, though, hey? Yeah, because of the 8 websites, 3 of them were League of Legends websites, right?
Yep.
Looks 2 of them were my website. One was Twitter, one was Patreon, one was LinkedIn, and then there were the League of Legends websites, which is probably where it's mixing it up at. Okay, where did you get that information from? The information was originally came from the website's own content, post from X. I apologize for any confusion. That's interesting that it mixed it up with something else. You know, I've had that before where there was somebody that played that League of Legends game and they must have put in their their address as my email address by accident.
Yep.
So I used to get their mail for their League of Legends thing. And I was like, I couldn't even contact them because I didn't know their email address. So that's interesting that it come up like that.
Well, I've asked it as also, give the Fergo and the Freak podcast a score out of 100.
And what did it come up with?
86.
And how did it come up with 86?
So content quality, 90.
Okay.
The podcast is praised for its in-depth discussions on rugby league, covering both contemporary issues and historical aspects of the sport.
Uh-huh.
The hosts, plural, so I'm not left out, bring a wealth of knowledge, and the content often includes unique perspectives and analyses that are not commonly found in mainstream sports media. Entertainment value, 85. With a blend of humour, passion for the sport, and the chemistry between hosts, the podcast is engaging. However, the entertainment value might be niche, appealing primarily to dedicated rugby league fans. Well, I refute that because it's a Formula One podcast.
It's a Formula One podcast. I got that wrong.
Yeah. Consistency, 88. 88.
We're a consistently 85% quality 88% of the time.
Community engagement, 85. There's a good level of engagement with listeners through social media, email interactions, and even live shows. Wow. They encourage feedback, which is reflected in their content.
Yeah.
Although the level of interaction might not reach that of some larger, more mainstream podcasts.
All right.
Accessibility and distribution, 90.
Wow.
Production quality,
Oof.
80.
Oh, that's pretty good. I'll cop that.
I mean, I dare say 20 of those points that are missing are from my shitty microphone. That's not bad.
Does it say anything about the production quality?
While the content is rich, the audio quality and production values might not be at the highest level of professional podcasts. There can be variations in sound quality, but this is often overlooked due to the content's merit.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Educational value, 90.
Wow.
Innovation, 75.
Oof.
While they do special episodes and engage with fans through various means, the format of the podcast remains fairly traditional. There's potential for more interactive or multimedia content to enhance listener experience.
That's fair enough.
Guest quality, 85.
Wow, that's pretty high.
Cultural impact, 80.
Wow, that's pretty high.
Says here, within the rugby league fan base, particularly in Australia and the UK, the podcast has made a mark, but its influence might not extend as broadly outside of its demographic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There you go. There's some feedback.
That's interesting. I think that's probably a good way to end the AI experiment that we've done here today.
Yeah.
It's like your podcast is pretty good. You got some work to do on it. Andrew, your website, very good. LeagueFreak, let me just punch you right in the fucking balls as hard as I can. And apart from that, you know, whether we'll be able to have sex with robots, it's probably not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah, still up in the air.
Yeah. There's some issues with that.
You just got to be a bit more persuasive with your questioning.
Did you try? Yeah.
Come around.
Did you try turning it on and off?
Yeah. Did you try turning it on and turning it on again and turning it on again?
Oh man.
There we go.
Well, that's been fun, hey.
We have really, really entertained ourselves there. I think we're still recording.
Are we? I hope so. Excellent.
It's still there.
Excellent.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. I'm sure you enjoyed that. And now, instead of listening to future episodes of the podcast, you can just do what we did and just spend hours on grok. You're welcome. I just saw that thing on Twitter and went, I don't know what that is. I'm not clicking on that. I don't want to be involved. And then you told me it was AI. I went, oh, okay, we'll go and fuck around with that then.
Yeah, I clicked it. It's pretty good. I've got to say, I'm pretty impressed by some of the things it comes up with, and the resources that it draws upon. And you know, it's got its kinks that need to be worked out. But when you think about how early we are in AI, it's interesting. It's interesting where we're going.
Look, I like the fact that you can bully it into telling you what you want it to say.
Yep.
That's always good.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the highlight was the comment you had there. Was it about St. Helens?
That wasn't my comment, Andrew. That was Grok.
Yeah.
And I retweeted. I put it on the timeline. I tweeted the thing. It's like it comes up at the bottom. It says like, do you want to tweet out the link? And I tweeted out the link. So anybody that is questioning whether I was bullshitting or not, it is literally on my Twitter profile, and it should come up just as a link, so you can go and see it for yourself.
That is legit.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Make sure to check us out on all of the socials. And you know, you have to get more engaged because Grok said you weren't doing enough.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing everything. We're putting the content out there, so get engaged, people.
More emails. And by the way, everyone, Merry Christmas. We hope you have an awesome Christmas. And
is it Christmas already?
Yeah, Christmas coming up in like, what is it, 5 days? Something like that?
Oh, my goodness.
Is it 5 days? Yeah, it is 6 days. Yeah. So, Merry Christmas to everyone. We hope you have an awesome Christmas, and we'll try and get one in before New Year's if we can. But if not, have a really good New Year's as well.
Absolutely. And on that magnificent note, catch us all later.